for 2025, I think we're going to get into a little more servicing here. I'd like to do more like fork seals and fluid changes and bushings and all that. I'm looking at getting like a teardown table and what have you, and just do that here. Now, there's no way I'm going to be a suspension expert where I'm going to be like counting shims and knowing what shims do and all this. That's not going to happen. But if somebody wants a plug and play part, an emulator or whatever install, okay, can do that. Want to change springs? Can do that. That's not a big deal. So I think we'll get more into that. I am looking at, like I said, tear down tables. I'll probably get like a transmission table so we can tear down, have the fluid drain into a bucket and what have you. So we have a spot to do that. Right now, it would be messy.
It would be, yeah. And we've
done it
yeah, like,
with our own bikes, and it's just getting the bucket, and it still creates a mess.
Yeah, so yeah, being able to service more of the and bring in more of the E-Moto service stuff too is big. We didn't advertise a lot on that, just bandwidth of people here, what times, and how much work can I really bring in. And then, of course, I kind of went on the opposite side where we were bringing in actual dirt bike service. And I did do a number of larger jobs here. It's just,
we can only have 8 biking at a time. We don't have that much room, especially if we're getting big orders of e-bikes. So, yeah, I mean, it's one-off. So you have to just call us, talk to us, and see what we're comfortable doing. We're not going to take a job that we don't want to do or we don't know how to do.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
And I think we've been pretty honest with that. And anytime we've run into issues where it's something that's kind of out of our league here, we've worked with Fuel Power Sports down in the Springs to help us out. So Russ over there is an awesome guy and has always supported us. So like anytime I've been like, dude, I don't know what the hell's wrong with this thing, he has been awesome for taking care of it for us. So.
Oh yeah, we definitely send a lot of business down there when they ask us, like, can you do this? No, let's go.
You can
go see them.
So.
Like, I don't want to tear down a whole engine.
Yeah, not in here. We're not specialized enough for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're not set up. We're not specialized. We don't have the room to have a bike or multiple bikes sitting there tore down while you're waiting for parts either.
Yep.
And then keep track of those parts.
Yep, that's been a problem.
Oh my God, yeah, we need a more organized system as it is.
Yeah.
So
that comes with growth too. Yeah. You know, it's we never intended a lot of that, but you know, hey, I'm ambitious enough to bring some of it in. So.
And that's another thing with a bit bigger space, possibly. Maybe we rent out a section for a mechanic to have a space, and then they're kind of working with us, you know.
Yeah.
And people come in here, yeah, we got a guy, you know, here, talk to him, his name's whatever. And
for sure, I think that'll be the way forward, because like as an owner and as somebody who has another job, it's sometimes getting to the big ticket work items is difficult.
But like forks, tires, obviously
fluid
tubes come with that, changing oil, chains, sprockets, that type of stuff, that's fairly easy. So, you know, we can usually get to that right away too, so it's a good turnaround for everybody.
Yeah. And that's good for us being a small shop, and that may actually alleviate some of the overload work for some of the other smaller shops like Fuel Power Sports, because those kinds of jobs don't pay them enough for their large space, their tooling, their guys, whereas it's more helpful to us. So we may have a pretty good relationship with that, actually.
Yeah, that's true, because there's always a lot of people that need little stuff, but bigger shops don't want to take that on.
Yeah, so they'll try to charge you, you know, an asinine amount of money for
it's kind of like the fuck you fee.
Yeah,
it's like, we don't.
There's 3 people behind you that need engine rebuilds, and that's going to pay my guys $2,000 a job, versus you want an oil change, and that's going to make us no money, you know, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting outlook on a lot of that too.
Yep. So that'd be fun to get it in a little more servicing. So that'd be for all the bikes, but like we said earlier, like the e-bikes just don't really have servicing, and so far a lot of these haven't been ridden enough to even have suspension servicings.
Yeah,
so
a lot of them buy them and really don't ride all that much. So.
They don't buy and ride much, or they're going to upgrade the suspension anyway. So if it breaks, they just go buy new suspension, and then that lasts them till they sell it, which is a few years.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
E-Moto, that's the next one I'll actually touch on, is E-Moto upgrade parts. And I'm not talking about like rotor guards. I'm talking about like, you know, or the little stuff like, you know, tires and things like that. I'm talking about like big batteries and controllers and motor upgrades. Yeah, people still do it, and there's probably a small market for it, but dude, it is not like, for one, as somebody who sells these bikes, it's stupid to spend the money to upgrade like a Light BX.
Yeah, we just had somebody asking about upgrading, the Light BX, 60 volt. Oh, battery and a motor, controller. It's like, well, why don't you just buy a bigger bike, a newer bike? It makes no sense.
Because like if a bigger battery is $2,000, a controller is getting up there towards what, $700,000-800,000, depends on which controller you're buying. So you're at $3,000 right there alone. And then if you want to do any other small upgrades, like let's just say handlebars or brake upgrades, that you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000 in upgrades on a bike that's already you've paid for. So you could sell the bike, put that money that you're going to put into upgrades, and literally go buy an E-Ride Pro 3.0 or an SR. So it from my perspective,
or an Arctic Leopard, even.
Or an Arctic Leopard, from my perspective, dude, just save your money and go get a better bike. Like that's kind of where I'm at, because I'm not here to con customers, and there's not enough markup on those big ticket items.
Yeah, the batteries surprisingly don't have a huge markup.
Yeah,
so a $2,000 or even $3,000 battery, you might make what, $400 or something.
If even.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah, and that's not to dig that market so much as like, that our entire purpose in that sale is to get labor out of you. I want to sell those parts to you and put them on, because I can charge you 2 hours of labor to put it in or whatever. And but it's truthfully not worth it. I'm going to make way more money selling you a whole new bike.
I actually think you're right. The battery, I think, was like only $200 or something. It was
much,
pretty small. It's like, that's why most shops aren't going to have batteries on hand.
Oh yeah, batteries are expensive.
We used to get asked that quite a bit. That kind of died down. I don't know economy,
batteries, but yeah, there's no way.
People were like, "Do you have batteries in stock?" It's like, we can order it, but no, we're not going to have a $3,000 battery just sitting here, and we're definitely not going to have 10 of them or something sitting here. $30,000 of
and storage of lithium batteries
to make $200 a battery. That makes no sense.
Yeah, so like that's a big one too in the e-moto market, and I consider everybody, there's going to be some bro that probably watches this segmented video and is like, oh my God, my 25 kilowatt upgraded Light BX, blah, blah, blah. If that's your passion, we all have our passions in life. Like, I've blown all kinds of money on dirt bikes. I couldn't even tell you, and some of it was stupid money, right? Like, and if that's what makes you hard at night, like that's fine. Like, you got to do what makes you happy, but for your average consumer, you can just go buy a better bike and you're going to get a better suspension on a better bike. You're going to get at the very least, you're getting a new suspension.
Because that's the thing versus gas bikes. Gas bikes are pretty much where they're at.
Yeah.
There's not much difference. The e-bikes are still evolving.
Yep.
So you're getting better components. You're getting better controllers or more powerful motors or bigger batteries every year.
Yeah, year on year.
There's better technology. Yep. So, it just doesn't make sense to put all that money into a 2-year-old, 3-year-old
Light
BX. And we're not knocking Sur-Ron, it's just they haven't changed. Yeah. So that's the easy one to pick on. So sorry, guys, if you're out there like, my Light B is awesome. Hey, I'm not saying it's not fun or anything, but they have not changed much. Even the Ultra B, I think we saw a thing where they
just got an update.
Update the power. But still, it's the same.
And a battery, I guess.
Yeah, the battery's a little bit bigger, but more power, you're going to drain the battery. So it's really probably a wash in the end. But it hasn't really changed as a bike. And you don't hear anything about a Sur-Ron whatever coming out,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Same with Talaria.
Yeah, I guess
we don't have customers really talking about those like they were.
The thing I'm kind of upset about,
the Dragon.
I guess I'm going to have to look more into that. Is we still haven't seen the Dragon hit mass market, I don't think, unless that mysteriously, because that was supposed to be all the rage was the Talaria Dragon.
We definitely haven't had anyone ask about it, and we usually get asked these things.
We do.
We don't get asked about the Talaria. We don't get asked about the Apollo RFN.
Yeah, I get zero interest in the MX-5.
The RARs, which we started with, we don't get asked about those. It's all about the E-Ride, the Throne, and the Arctic Leopard we get asked.
Yeah, and
probably in that order.
Yeah, it's funny because it's just all social media driven and how you're.
That goes back to the social media,
But it's a good thing. Things to think about if you're looking to do upgrades and stuff is like look at how much you're going to spend on those upgrades, what you could sell your current bike for, and if you could just get a new bike. Like,
And typically upgrades for bikes don't generate the
that's
income
another
for
thing.
a sale.
No, it does
Everyone
not,
thinks
no.
that it does, but
No, because I had a tricked out Light BX here that was a pain in the butt to sell, even though it had a ton of mods on it and stuff. So like a bigger battery.
yeah, it was like $12,000 bike.
Yeah, we had the hardest time moving it for like $5,500, I think is what I sold it for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's what I would concentrate personally if it was me that had these bikes on fork or shock upgrades. That would be the only thing that would be worth it. That's like a bigger dollar item. That's
Because that's always going to be personal preference
Yeah.
too. That's the same with gas bikes. It's personal preference whether you like the forks and the shock.
And it segues me into also, I know everybody's strapped for budget, whatever else, but like if you can spring for the slightly better model, then go ahead and do it. Like right now, if you can spring for a 3.0 E-Ride instead of a 2.0 when you're looking at it, don't assume that you're going to buy a 2.0 and upgrade it to be the same as a 3. You're going to spend the same amount of money trying to get there.
Or more. You're probably going to
more,
spend
yeah.
more trying to get there because one thing leads to the next. You're going to upgrade the motor or the controller, and then you're going to want the battery. And it's like,
Yep, just
oh,
get the
come
SR.
on, just
Screw it.
yeah,
you know?
just get the SR at that point.
Yeah.
Even if you have to save an extra few months or whatever, or maybe it's a small loan for the difference, and you just pay that off right away.
And if you're looking for a true dirt bike, for those that look into this, a $4,000 E-Moto is not going to be a true dirt bike to you. We've had customers that have bought them that have been disappointed, and it's like, yeah, well, you're not paying, for a $7,000 to $10,000 bike, you're not getting a $7,000 to $10,000 bike. That's just how it is. If you want a real dirt bike, then Arctic Leopard is your best, more budget option. If you don't want to go to Stark. And it's not a bad option either. The EXE 880 is a phenomenal bike. And
I love that
you
one.
know what? It only makes 55 horsepower. I mean, who says that? Like, the bike
Off-road,
is, I know.
like-
The bike is ungodly powerful.
Let's put it this way. The friend that bought the Stark, and I've heard this from other people I know in the community, is they never turn the power up. They're like, oh, I have it set like 20 horsepower or 25,
Yeah.
That's it. They're not using 80 horsepower. Where are you riding at 80 horsepower?
Yeah, I think I rode at most 18 kilowatts, I think is what I was riding the EXE 880. And that sounds like a lot, but that was peak power. And of course, the EXE 880 is a heavier bike than some of the smaller E-Motos. But that's literally less than half the bike's total power output. So gives you kind of an idea that those are pretty good. And now that the EXE 880, I believe, is 9,000 or 9,500.
That's why this one looking to import at 45 kilowatts, no one's going to ride around at 45. That's going to be just the, hey, check this out, and then that's about it.
Yeah,
you check it
wow.
out a few times, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to turn that down to like probably 20 kilowatts. You're probably going to ride around 15 to 20. That's probably going to be where you're at.
Yep, that would be probably my main one.
So I don't know where electric's going as far as these, hey, I got a claim of this. Why? It doesn't matter.
We want range. The mass market
range
really
is
wants range, and that comes with weight. And I hate to say this to a lot of people because we all talk about, oh, the E-Ride Pro is 130 pounds or whatever they say it is. I have a hard time keeping up with whatever the newest one is. I know the 3.0 is heavier because it's a bigger battery. But, if you want more range and you want more power, you need a bigger battery. And that's really what the physics of the problem is. Batteries technology, I don't think, is going to get shrunk down a whole lot more in recent years. So we're just going to see bikes, I think, come with bigger and bigger batteries, which Arctic Leopard kind of got a jump on because like the X800 having a massive battery is super cool.
Yeah, 75 amp hours. I kind of wish they all were like that because that solves that question.
Yeah. And
how far can I go?
It goes pretty far, and they could go even bigger at that. It just becomes a cost proposition because as you get into bigger and bigger batteries, it gets more and more expensive.
Yep.
So
takes longer to charge too, which people don't factor that in. But yeah, it's going to take longer to charge when it's a big battery.
Yeah. Then you get into like 220 chargers and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, we get asked about that a lot on $4,000 bikes. Where does that quick charge on? No, you're not paying for that.
No, yeah.
No,
there are some options.
The Arctic
for that,
Leopard EXE 880, I think could, right?
It has a dual powered charger, so you can run 220, I think 2.5 kilowatts through it. But the faster you charge, the more you degrade the battery too, which is a whole other subject. But Yeah, so it all depends. Battery powered stuff, it can get to the point we're going to see a lot more bikes that are in the 50 to 60 mile, and then I'm hoping 60 mile plus range. Because I think an EX800, they could easily get into the 60 to 70 mile range with the extra space they've got in there.
It'd be a little heavier.
It's just a matter of the weight, and of course, then it goes back to being a $9,000 bike. So what you're paying for is the battery.
Yeah, really, that is what you're paying for. People think it's the controller and motor and stuff, but really they produce those for next to nothing.
Yep. It's the battery,
electric
raw
motors
materials.
don't cost that much.
Yeah.
The copper in it.
Yeah, I'd say copper and rare earth magnets are probably a little pricey too. I'd probably go battery and motor are probably the most expensive components, but yeah, like the big things is always the raw materials and those batteries. They're expensive.
Yeah, they are, and then the shipping and stuff. That's the weight.
Yep.
Right there, because when you usually take out one of these batteries, that's like 30 pounds or 40 pounds. So that's most of the weight right there.
Sweet. Well, 2025 goals. How about that one? I don't know. We'll finish out with that. I don't know. I want to get out to Moab. We didn't do Moab last year.
Yeah, Moab would be, we need to go there, Green River.
Yep, Green River.
I guess I went to Green River. You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't go. Yeah, so I want to do Slick Rock again because I had a lot of fun doing Slick Rock. And then, I'd like to get out and do some more of those cool
especially on
rides.
some of the electrics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On the electric.
Just an electric outing, or maybe, I don't know. We have to figure out how we would do that. Maybe just take 2 vehicles or something. A bunch of bikes.
We have to bring a bunch of them, yeah. And then of course
we still camp in the camper, but we could just take.
And we'll stress how much my little generator can take.
Charging everything. Yeah. Maybe have to go to Harbor Freight and buy a generator.
Yeah, I might have to. Which sounds ironic because people are like, electric. Yeah, that's.
There's nothing green about these. Let's be real.
Yeah, I don't pretend that it's super green. I don't really care. It's just, what's unique about electric is the different power delivery, the lightness of them, and it's
quietness.
Quietness too is a big one.
Because you can actually talk and stuff.
And
most other trail users aren't mad at you, which is really strange.
Yep.
You'll get more waves and smiles and stuff, or questions about what you're on versus, oh my God, turn that 2-stroke off. Sorry.
So it's kind of a fun, different experience, and how you tackle obstacles is a little bit different on them too. So.
Yeah, because you don't have the audible noise, so you don't know where you're at in your power.
You really got to feel the bike.
Yeah, you really have to know the bike really well to get up obstacles.
Yep.
I think that's a hard one. And it goes, my thing to tell everyone that buys a bike, especially for a kid, is get in a habit to always have it off.
Before you get on. Yeah.
Well, not just before you get, just when you're stopped.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have the audible, so people don't think it's on. So you're going to get a friend that throws your bike off from under you because they want to twist that throttle.
Yep.
Don't go around twisting people's throttles.
That too.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
But definitely, because no one can hear it, they're not going to think about it.
We've had people hear Whiskey Throttle about through the music store's window.
Oh yeah, through our front window. He took it out, and then he into the wall. His hand, the bike was fine, but he ended up buying the bike. But it was like, oh my God, like dude, Or I'll cringe because somebody will get on it and they.
Yeah, immediately.
I'm like, what are you even doing?
Yeah, that baby's
why are you twisting that?
Yeah, so.
So that's a thing. If you get an electric bike, definitely get in a habit to turn it off when you stop.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a big deal to turn it back on.
What are there 2020? Oh yeah, I want to ride more. So I recently had surgery at the end of the year. So they cut up all my abs, and I got my gallbladder removed and all kinds of craziness. So trying to get my core strength back is probably going to be a struggle because I can't even sit up in bed right now. I'm rolling over like a fat kid. So
and he has to be ready for TKO. He's running the A class, I think.
The A class, yeah, sure. The A&M Moto class. They separating it out yet? Because last year I felt like a loser. So I was
they need to separate it out.
They do, because I got blazed.
So as people, that's another thing. People find out about e-bikes and stuff. They're going towards racing. Oh, I'll race the e-bike and I'll have good odds. Well, that's probably over now.
It's a bunch of pros
because the pros are like, yep, I'm going to do that. So you're getting mountain bike pros and they're good riders because they're used to that bombing downhills and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they're out there on these having a blast and kicking ass. And down the road, I bet we get a lot of older ex-gas bike racers. I could see them doing really well in that category because they can compete.
That was the.
I don't think we can compete now as a normal rider.
True.
It's just for fun. We do it for fun.
Yeah, we do it for fun. I'm never going to win a TKO, or I don't even think I'll ever make it to the second lap or be willing to do the second lap. Because I don't know, whoever is sadist enough to go do that, I applaud you because it's brutal. Like, I made it way further in my first time doing TKO on a bike I had never been on. I raced the EX800, and I can tell you that, you know, one, you should probably practice on a bike that you're going to use when you go out there. Two, I did way better than I thought I was going to do, and I made it way further than I thought it was, but I was definitely in the main race, like dead last in the E-Moto class. Like, there's no doubt about it.
He was further in there than I thought. I was like, I wonder where he bailed. I wonder if I'll see him. I kept going and going. I'm like, surely he did not make it this far. And then I roll up. I'm like, huh, yeah. He made it this far. Damn.
Yeah, I was just pushing myself to see how far I'd make it. And I made it way further. I found out later on that I really wasn't that far from making it all the way, which is upsetting because you don't really know when you're in it because you don't know the main circuit.
Especially when you've never done it. You don't even have an idea.
And I was pretty shot. I had dumped the bike in some ways. Some of those hills, you can ask him, some of the downhills were not, some of the craziest downhill stuff I've ever done.
The downhills were actually nuttier than the uphills because we're used to uphills. The downhills were like, I can't stop.
Nope. And the Arctic Lap, I overheated the rear brake on the Arctic Leopard a couple of times, and that's a separate story. But yeah, like there was a few instances where I was just like, holy shit, and I was pretty beat up. But I was proud of myself for as far as I made it, and you know, I'd never ever done anything like that, so that was cool. Like, I was so worried when we were dropping off the container. That was the scariest thing ever on the hot lap day because it
looks
looks
bad, but it's
not really that bad. But I had just watched a kid that had rolled up the ramp and then rolled back off the ramp, and you know you're like, oh God, I'm gonna be that kid, you know. So
yeah, I had the same thing waiting. Some kid like biffed it. I was like going up to get on the container, and I'm like, oh shit, that's gonna be me because it's just a narrow ramp.
Yep. It's like a
going up a steep hill, and it looks sketchy as heck. You're like, is that attached to the ground or something? And then the gal at the bottom wasn't making it any better. She kept saying, okay, you can do it, think through. I mean, I'm getting more paranoid about going up the ramp. Just shut up. I know I can go up it, but you keep going on about it. And then at the very last minute, she goes, oh, well, you probably want your goggles on, because she kept talking. I didn't even know I had my goggles. And luckily, I have the quick strap, so I just quickly around, and then I had to take off to get up there.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. And for me, I've never done a race before. That was my first race ever. So like, I was most worried about the beginning section where the logs, because those are pretty big logs. Like, I've never really hopped over stuff like that before, but I actually did fine over that. I was so worried I was going to make an ass out of myself, but I actually did.
I think we're all worried. I'm like, each one, I'm like, I made it. I made it.
I'm like hopping over, and I'm like, oh
don't
my
go down.
God.
Don't go
don't
down.
crash in front of everybody. And you get around,
and if you do, you better jump up and be like, yay.
Yeah. Well, and then, like I got, the Rocky section, which is funny, I probably did the best on because we're used to riding that stuff. It was like.
It's the heat.
It was the heat that really got to me.
Hot.
I ran out of water too, was a lot of the other reason why I dropped out too. 3 liters of water wasn't enough. At least not for me. I need to get in better shape. But the other thing was, large obstacles, because the hot lap day, I remember they had like the giant log of death at the end.
Oh yeah, and that tree line,
the tree, like, oh my God, I've never gone over anything that big. Like, I just, and the Arctic Leopard doesn't have as much ground clearance as a standard dirt bike. So dude, I closed my eyes and I rammed on the gas, and the fact that I made it over it without crashing was like the biggest accomplishment of my life, I think.
That's one thing about racing. You have to tune out the spectators.
Oh yeah.
Because they're giving like the worst advice, and it's like, armchair wrestling, and you hear them. They're like, oh yeah, hit that over on the blah blah blah, and you're like, No.
Yeah, you're like,
Like, who do you think I am?
I'm not Cody Webb over here. I would stop too because I took a lot of breaks. No shame there. I did take a lot of breaks. I would sit there and talk with the spectators because they're like, "Oh, what kind of bike are you on?" They'd ask me all kinds of questions, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna be here for a minute because like I'm not winning anything, so
Yeah.
I'm just here for the ride." But it was a great experience. So we'll probably do it again. I'm not looking. Now that I know what I know, the E-Moto class is perfect because you get a large window between the E-Moto and the gas guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you just want to at least accomplish the course,
Yeah.
you have the best chance because you have all day.
Yep.
Basically.
You pretty much, because you won't
You
tag
start
out
first.
until the gas guys get tagged out. So you get like pretty much an extra hour, I think, which I'm sad that I still didn't make it. But whatever.
That's okay. I was out. I used a gal for a crutch. I was like, "Oh, your bike won't start." Yeah. I'm pretty tired. Like, oh yeah, let's just talk.
Well, and I helped other riders at the back too. There was a lot of guys that had mechanical problems. Like clutches failed with one guy. One guy blew a head gasket. I was helping him, and I had my last. I called it like the hill of death or whatever. And the Arctic Leopard guy had already passed me once, and then he went back through after the gas guys came past me, and then did a second lap. As a qualifying, I guess that still would have been. So he did the EXC 880, and then he rode the EX 800, and so he passed me both times. And that was probably one of the most like demoralizing things ever. But I made two attempts at that hill, and I was done. It was pretty shot. So, but that was so doing TKO. I don't know about some of the other enduro races. We might look at doing one or two others just for fun.
I guess it depends which buddies go to which race.
Yeah.
Might just go for fun, I don't. Well, we're doing it for fun anyways, but just if friends are going, you're more willing to go, if nothing else, just to hang out and have fun and watch a race if nothing else,
Yeah, so I'm getting more into that stuff, so we'll probably show up to more of the races. I'm excited for that, just now that I know the format a little bit better. I'm not there to prove anything. So.
Well, I'm still learning. I mean, only my second year, so I think I did better than the first year. You have to have that racer mentality of, I mean, you can't really help people even though you want to, and as a trail rider, you tend to want to help people. So I helped one guy, and that was my limit because he wasted a lot of my time. I ate most of my time because of him. And then I came across a young kid on a bike, bike's upside down. He's standing there. I'm like, "Hey, you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, my thumb hurts." I'm like, "You're good." I twisted that throttle and I was gone. Like, yeah, that doesn't count as an emergency.
You're not going to bleed out from that one.
Not going to die. You'll be okay. It might buff out.
Yeah, so... but that's probably most of 2025. Yeah, is going to be concentrating on
expanding the business, warehouse possibly, importation, just getting out to ride more. That's always the goal, which is hard to do.
Getting healthy again. Going to be doing that. Yeah, so that's exciting stuff. Yeah, well, I know, right?
We just ate at Rosie's. I don't know about
true.
that.
I did lose 20 pounds towards the end of the year, so that was exciting.
Yeah. So I think that's about it.
This 12-part video that we have here.
Yeah, this is like a 52-part video. So hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video. And we probably should get going home and stuff. I think it's late now. So y'all take care, stay well, stay safe, and catch you in the next one.